Hey everyone, it's Sassy Girl Cheese here, and today we are watching the 2003 classic, What a Girl Wants. I love Amanda Bynes, and I saw her blow up a little bit on TikTok. She's been a little bit more active on social media, and I just feel like it's time for an Amanda Bynes renaissance, you know what I'm saying? So I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to revisit this classic. What a Girl Wants is a main character syndrome teen movie about a quirky and zany girl who connects with her father in the UK, who is also like a royal important person, but he has no idea she exists. He's like a lord or something, but he's not the king. Don't come at me in the comments because I don't understand English politics at all. This movie is full of one-liners, things that irritate me, which I know you all love, and also Amanda Bynes tripping over everything because she's relatable, you know? Overall, I really love this movie unironically, but it's fun making fun of teen movies, and that's why you're all here. So let's get into the video. So to start things off, Daphne is a New York girlie who grew up in Chinatown with her mom, and I'm completely annoyed by the first part of this plot. I'll explain why in a minute. So Daphne lived her whole life knowing that she has this royal dad over in Britain, but that has no idea she exists. But for some reason, she is always expecting him to like pop in on her birthday, and she gets depressed when he doesn't. And for whatever reason, every year her mother tells her the same origin story about how she met her baby daddy. And the story is mom is backpacking in Morocco. She falls down a cliff. No, not a cliff. I'm gonna like rewind a little bit. So she falls down this like Moroccan hill, and Henry, her royal baby daddy, catches her. And that's where they like kick things off, right? They fall in love, they elope in Morocco, and Henry brings her back to get married in real life because I guess the one in Morocco didn't count. I love how they're dressed like it's 2002, which is the literal opposite of 1985. But as you all could probably guess, the relationship gets in a bunch of complications because Daphne's not considered a lady. Mom is given a letter from this old dude, and it's apparently from Henry, which I would immediately question if the entire family did not like me, but whatever. She immediately leaves, super emotional, right? And Henry gets a letter from the same old dude, and the old dude is like, apparently there's someone else.
Apparently there's someone else.
So the whole thing is a setup to like make her leave, right? But she goes home, she finds out she's knocked up with Amanda Bynes, and she like just doesn't tell him. Like Daphne has a picture of him and everything. Okay, and I just want to say, like, why would you leave? Like, you better believe that if my man gave me a breakup letter and I was in the same palace as him, you better believe I would be breaking down the door and being like, what's up? What the fuck is this? What is this? You care to explain? And we never find out what this letter says. And this girl goes her entire life so far expecting her dad to just show up when he doesn't even know that she exists. I also want to point out that he was reading her letter as she was leaving the premises, so he did not have any opportunity to be like, what's up? But she did. That's it, rant over, I'm moving on. Mom is a wedding singer and Daphne is a waitress, and they always work the same weddings. Daphne's very clumsy, she's always banging her head on something or falling. And she always has to be the center of attention. I can't stress this enough. Like right here, she's trying to figure out how to wake up this groom and she's thinking, what should I do? Oh, I know. I'm gonna snatch this butter knife that this gentleman is obviously using, use it to break off a piece of ice in this sculpture, give it back, and then take the ice and put it down a drunk man's shirt. Okay, one, if you must use a knife, you couldn't have picked a different knife. Drunk dude is freaking out because he's got ice in his shirt. He's magoogling around and screaming. Daphne's like, woo, dance party, and everybody just starts dancing. This movie is a lot of this. So one sore spot for Daphne is these father-daughter dances. Daphne's kind of fed up because she's like, I don't understand why I can't see my dad that I know exists.
I can't help but think that I'm never gonna get to do that. I know you think you're doing the right thing by keeping me from him, but Honey.
Mom is all like, but I was trying to protect you. And Daphne reminds her that she's the one who left. And then she's all like, well, it's not like you flew a goddamn plane to see me.
It's not like he jumped on a plane and came after me, Daphne.
Well, maybe he would have if he knew I existed.
Girl, are you for real right now? It's not like he asked me if I was pregnant. I can feel Daphne's frustration with this woman who just can take no accountability for anything.
It's not that simple.
Yes, it is. It is literally that simple. Like, she can visit England every now and then, or maybe he can just send money so y'all don't have to work. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Like, I don't know what y'all doing. So Daphne decides at the ripe age of 17 that she's just gonna buy a plane ticket to England and dip out. She just leaves a message on her mom's answering machine. And also, surprisingly enough, Mom doesn't give any reaction.
I think I've always known what I really need more than anything else in the
Also, I was thinking, can minors buy plane tickets? And according to Google, they can, so I'm just gonna go with that. So Daphne makes it to London and makes her way to a hotel when she notices a guy playing a poorly written song on the guitar.
It's like a helpless child. Helpless child. No, that's not it.
That sounded really good.
Yeah, I can relate because I'm a helpless child in a foreign country. So this guy works there, and we're gonna see him a lot, not only because he's the love interest in this movie, but also because he works like 10 jobs, and they're also conveniently everywhere she is at all times. I don't know how old he is, and we're not supposed to question it in 2003, so we're moving on. But we find out on the news that Henry is leaving the House of Lords, which is like this royal hereditary thing, and he's gonna go run for prime minister. They also talk about his fiance and his new stepdaughter, Clarissa. I'm not gonna get into the whole British political dynamic of this movie because I don't know, it doesn't really further the plot a whole lot, but just know that everything he does is for his image and also for his royal family's reputation. Glynis is Henry's fiance, and she is also the daughter of the old dude that gave the fake letters, so their relationship is entirely political. They don't have any kind of romantic interaction, and they're probably sleeping in separate beds. Daphne watches this on the news and she feels a type of way, so she tries to get advice from Ian, and she's like, well, I don't know, he has a family now, I don't know if I should really intervene, maybe I should just go home. And Ian just walks away.
Maybe I should just go home and let him get on with his life.
Do you know how mad I would be? She needs reassurance, Ian. She's a helpless child. She's a helpless child.
Helpless child.
Okay, so now for part 2 of Daphne making simple problems complicated. So Daphne gets to the palace, and instead of showing the guards the birth certificate she brought and the photo of her dad in Morocco, that is nowhere else, by the way, she decides to climb the wall to the palace and then fall. Clarissa is like, did you see that enormous bird fall off the wall?
An impossibly large bird falling off that wall.
Clarissa, what kind of drugs are you on? Like, I like how the first thought wasn't, oh no, an intruder, or oh no, an alien. It was, oh no, it's Big Bird. I've literally never seen a bird fall off of anything. Henry spots her, and he assumes that Daphne is like the media trying to get a photo of them through the window, so he just takes her and he aggressively sits her down on the chair to explain herself.
I already have a picture of you.
Darling Henry, what's going
I don't know why I find this photo of Henry hilarious. It's giving textbook British man in Morocco. So Daphne spills the beans, she shows him the birth certificate, and they just assume that she's lying at first, but one thing leads to another, and Henry's like, oh wait, maybe you are my daughter. And then he's rightfully pissed.
But your mother didn't feel I deserved the same consideration.
No to the fruitcake, then.
How could she keep something like this from me?
My thoughts exactly, Henry, I'm on your side. She ends up staying at the palace to avoid a media frenzy.
apparently taking something of yours with her?
Oh, put a cork in it, Clarissa.
Maybe someone should have put a cork in it 17 years ago.
I didn't hear cork. Henry calls Libby and he's like, dude, why didn't you tell me I have a 17-year-old daughter in America? And Libby takes zero responsibility for anything.
My doorstep 17 years later, unannounced.
And what? Put a dent in your political career?
No, that's not what I was
You're
going to
afraid
say.
of a scandal, just send her back.
Libby, are you serious? And then she hangs up on him, by the way. And look, I don't know if I'm supposed to be on Libby's side at this point, and I get that there was some kind of mix up with the letters, but I was very anti-Libby in this point in the movie. Daphne's living it up in Cinderella's castle. She's just so zany and relatable. She got invited to go to a dress show, which is like a fashion show, but except it's for royal dresses. I don't know. Daphne's getting ready and the bathtub starts attacking her, but she even reaches for the faucet at one point but doesn't turn it off. Everybody's waiting downstairs for her and they just hear her screaming. So they decide to leave and have someone else take her because she's taking a gazillion years. So of course she gets there and she's late. The doors are locked, or they're locking up the doors. And so she goes in through the back. She's looking around trying to find where to go, and she just wanders onto the runway. And I know this is supposed to be an iconic scene. I Want to Be Bad by Willa Ford starts playing, but I just started thinking, like, if this happened in real life, it would be so cringy.
Hey!
She doesn't even go here.
Yeah!
I mean, any regular person would just, I don't know, turn around. And just remember that the entirety of Great Britain has no idea that this girl even exists, the daughter of a lord and also a candidate running for prime minister. And this is the first thing that they see. Daphne really exudes main character syndrome in this scene specifically. She walks over to Clarissa and refers to her as an evil stepsister and hints that she's Cinderella. She 1000% crosses boundaries when she walks up to this woman she doesn't know and takes her dog. For anyone watching this, don't do that. But I guess this woman is of royal importance, and she finds out that that is Henry's daughter. So Henry tells her that she is going to be there for the summer attending political events and royal parties and stuff. The first party she has to go to is for something called a coming out party, which is like something I had, except it was a coming out execution. But apparently a coming out party is where aristocrat daughters are officially available for other aristocrat men to date.
Oh, very you. Lovely. Well, pointer number 1, go home.
You're designer. I'm vintage. You've got a mansion. I have a 5-floor walk-up. You're snotty little Miss Cranky Pants, and I go with the flow.
She's just not like other girls. We get our first real conversation with Henry's mom, who is Daphne's royal grandma. She's consistently supportive of Daphne going over the edge. She's like over the whole royal thing, and that old dude has been trying to manipulate Henry just like he did with her late husband. Daphne decides she's gonna do a 5-minute crafts with her handy dandy scissors.
Fantastic. Who designed the dress, Miss Reynolds?
I mean, it does look better. Like, it was a hideous dress, but she could have, like, I don't know, worn something different before destroying someone else's property. She does slay here though, 10 out of 10. So this coming out party is for these two women named Pear and Peach, and they're in the most unflattering dresses I've ever seen. Their dad is obsessed with this family heirloom chandelier that I guess has something to do with Napoleon. Oh, and this tool is an aristocrat and is flirty with Daphne, who also thinks that every single woman is obsessed with him. Naturally, Clarissa is very jealous because she also has a thing for this man, but Daphne wants nothing to do with him.
Yummy.
He looks like he smells like cheese. Oh, and remember Ian? Well, conveniently, he's tonight's entertainment, and the song that he chose is the one about the helpless child.
Just like a helpless child. Yeah.
I like how he sings one song and then leaves the stage. And then Daphne meets Pear and Peach, who both get bullied by Clarissa. She like calls them pumpkins or something. Daphne's looking around and notices how boring the party is. So she runs over to Ian to convince him to play a song that's gonna get everyone up and dancing. This part annoyed me so much. Ian is like, sorry, no, I can't because I could lose my job. And then Daphne does this.
For me?
Okay.
Stop. The vocal difference between this song and the other song is so wildly different. I just assume that he's lip syncing to James Brown. I mean, either that or Oliver James is just really good at impersonating James Brown. But Daphne is getting everyone to start dancing, and everyone is immediately just getting into it. All of a sudden, all these aristocrats have the same line dance memorized. But oh no, Peanut and Peaches or Pear and whatever's dad starts freaking out because the chandelier falls and shatters all over the place. The paparazzi's whacking out. Blows up all over the news that Henry has this American daughter that he can't control. And if he can't control his own daughter, how is he going to control his own country? Henry is so unserious about it. He's like, good, that chandelier.
Frankly, I don't know anyone that isn't relieved to see that wretched chandelier go.
Percy, what on earth are you giving Henry?
They're called Cocoa Pops, madam.
Morning.
And then Ian shows up to take Daphne on a little outing, and we get the single most 2002 moment I've seen in a long time.
Thanks for my bracelets.
That's okay.
Today was really fun. I needed it.
Good. Glad you're enjoying yourself.
I don't know, is it me or is it hard to tell if he's actually interested in hanging out with her? He's acting like he's doing her a favor. We find out Ian is the son of a royal heiress who I guess decided to marry someone who wasn't royal, and they ended up poor.
And your parents?
They're poor as church mice and they're the happiest people I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna call bullshit on that one. So Daphne goes to this event, and Ian is also there because I guess he has a job parking cars. I was thinking like how interesting it would be if this movie actually turned out to be a thriller about Ian just stalking Amanda Bynes. Douche Alert shows up and he said some really weird things to Ian. He said something like, breeding always wins, like he's a poodle or something. Peach and Pear show up and they're looking hot as hell. They say that they were influenced by Daphne and they start hitting it off with these two guys.
I find your Yankee vulgarity intensely attractive, so forget about the car parking mixed race mongrel and...
You're right. I have been longing to do this.
I personally think that inviting Douche Alert to kiss you and then throwing him to the lake is a bit insane. I feel like insulting his manhood or making him cry would make a lot more sense in this kind of scenario, because Daphne knows how much is riding on this event. She's representing her dad and he's running for office. But you know, Henry would disagree with me because he immediately shows up to Daphne and he's like, you know what? I literally don't even care anymore. He starts driving around on Ian's bike like a maniac, almost hitting people. This woman even falls into the fountain. They have this sweet bonding moment while they're out and about. Henry gets a henna tattoo, and where would we be without an early 2000s costume montage? My favorite moment of this movie is when Henry dresses up like Ozzy Osbourne and starts shaking his ass. Glynis walks in, and she's like, "What have you done with my fiance?" He's like, "Okay, whatever." Just starts dancing again. But I guess he goes to meet with these like political clients or whatever, and they're all disapproving of his behavior recently. So he talks to Daphne and he's like, look, you know, one of the things that sucks about being royal is that you have to pretend to be boring sometimes. He continues on saying, I really love doing all that with you, but you know, while you're here, I just have to lay low a little bit. And if you want to be royal, you also have to pretend to be boring for a minute. Need I remind you that Daphne is only there for the summer. She's not like gonna be there for the rest of her life. So all she has to do is act like a normal person for a few more weeks, and then she'll be able to go home. Like, she can also leave whenever she wants, by the way. Like, at least he's including her in his life. He's not like disowning her because she's different or whatever. And for a moment, Daphne's like, sure, you know, that makes sense. I'm gonna buckle up and pretend to be royal for my dad. And we get this really dramatic montage of Daphne changing her look and covering up her tattoo, putting on different clothes. And all of a sudden, Henry's image is a lot better. He's like all up in the polls now. Ian pops up and he's like, hey, are you ready to go to this concert? And Daphne forgot about it because I guess she's been doing a bunch of political stuff. And Ian completely overreacts. Which, yeah, I mean, she should have remembered and told Ian that she had to cancel on the concert. But he's like, you've changed, Daphne.
Call me when Daphne re-inhabits your body.
Call me when the real Daphne comes back. Just shut up, man. Shut your helpless child mouth. You don't have any critical thinking skills to understand that not everything is about you, that sometimes you have to do shit you don't want to do. And look, now she feels like garbage. Thanks a lot. Daphne's royal grandma talks to her about her coming out party, and she decides to give her this tiara that's been passed down for generations, which is like a huge deal and an honor to be given this piece of history. Daphne's coming out party look is revealed, and Amanda Bynes is so freaking gorgeous. Henry tries to give a compliment to Daphne, but she gives a backhanded response.
Daphne, you look
Different?
What does that even mean? You literally would have worn this dress pre-royal transformation, except your hair would have been down. Ian makes it worse by guilting her for not acting wackadoodle for 5 minutes.
I really
don't want to
didn't
hear about it, Daph. What happened to the old you?
Oh, and surprise. Surprise, surprise! Daphne's mom just shows up. She looks completely gorgeous, by the way, but I just don't like Libby. Hi, Daphne. I'm sorry I haven't spoken to you on the phone since you left the country. It's so obvious that Henry is still madly in love with this woman. Libby is absolutely the woman he tells you not to worry about. Glynis is having an absolute meltdown watching her man dance with his ex. I mean, can't really blame her on that part. And I know that there's like this political dynamic in their relationship, but at the end of the day, they're still engaged. I mean, it doesn't really matter because she has ulterior motives anyways. Old dude is a loudmouth, and he openly admitted to getting rid of Daphne's mother and also planning on getting rid of Daphne herself.
Quite an achievement, wasn't it? I thought I was going to have to get rid of her, like I had to get rid of her mother. But
What did you just say?
Daphne's about to make a full-on scene, and Glynis immediately starts whacking out. She grabs Daphne, shoves her in a dark room, and locks her in there.
What I wanted was to be given a chance.
You have had 17 years of chances, Henry, and I've had 17 years of waiting for you to take them.
Stop. Nope. I don't care what the letter said. You were literally in the same building as him. Like you knew all these royal people were up y'all's asses anyways. But Henry read your letter as you were leaving. I literally don't want to hear it from you, Libby. And I was trying to protect her, doesn't cut it for me. I'm sorry. So big moment, you guys. It's time for the father-daughter dance. You know, the thing that Daphne's always depressed about in weddings. But oh no, Daphne's locked in the room. What's gonna happen? So Libby runs off to go look for Daphne, and then Glynis puts Henry in a really difficult situation. She's like, oh, well, we're about to get married anyways, and Clarissa's gonna be your future stepdaughter, so why don't you dance with her? So Libby rescues Daphne, and then Daphne sees Clarissa dancing with her dad.
You don't want a scene now, do you?
Take your hand off my daughter. You won't get a scene, you get a Broadway musical.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna use that for whenever I'm in the car talking to myself, reenacting arguments I've had, except I always say something witty and win. Daphne's really upset about this. She's like, deuces, I'm done. Here, take this tiara. Henry is thinking, shit, I'm sorry. I feel like this is some kind of, I don't know, misunderstanding.
I'm done waiting, Henry. You know, when I was little, every birthday I'd get all dressed up and I'd wish that if I was good enough, that you'd come and find me.
He didn't even know you existed. Oh my God. Daphne's talking about how she misses being her and she realizes it's important to be herself. And I'm thinking, girl, all you have to do is finish this party and then you can go home and be yourself. I still don't know what the issue is. You chose to be royal. Mom is like, aw, she's learning how to gaslight just like her mother. So they leave, and Henry feels like a total piece of garbage. They have this sad early 2000s montage, and then they cut to Ian for some reason. He's all depressed, and Grandma comes over, and she's like, dude, you know what? You don't want to do any of this stuff anyways. Just quit. Just quit the whole royal thing. Let's just be done with it. So at his next press event, Henry just straight up withdraws from the election. I mean, it's what he wanted to do since day one. He's never wanted this. I just wish he didn't have to be guilted into doing it.
You knew about Daphne?
of course I knew. It's my job to know.
Henry, darling, Henry. I know Daddy's been naughty.
I was completely prepared for him to punch her in the face. So he leaves it all behind. He shows up to a wedding that Daphne and her mom are working. Daphne gets her father-daughter dance as she always wanted, and he even brings Stalker to America with him. The movie ends with Libby and Henry finally being together. Some epilogue moments include Clarissa and Poodle getting married. Old dude is a tour guide, and he actually seems to really enjoy it. Henry and Daphne get married in Morocco for real, and Daphne ends up going to school in London so she can go be with Ian. They all live happily ever after because the moral of the story is that money does in fact buy happiness. Well, there you have it, guys. What a Girl Wants. I love this movie. I love it. It's, you know, there's parts of it that I have issues with, but it's still like just, I love Amanda Bynes. I love her. The only unproblematic character in the entire film, by the way, besides Grandma, is Henry. And I will die on that hill. He did nothing wrong. Completely innocent man. If y'all like this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.